Let's never do that again. That was the main idea behind the financial reform bill President Obama signed into law back in July. After several decades of steady deregulation of the financial sector, the White House and Democrats in Congress produced a bill whose stated purpose was to make sure history did not repeat itself in another catastrophic real estate boom and bust.
With this law, we'll crack down on abusive practices in the mortgage industry. We'll make sure that contracts are simpler, putting an end to many hidden penalties and fees in complex mortgages, so folks know what they're signing.
The new law also created the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which, led by Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, met for the second time, in its brief history today. The folks on this Oversight Council are supposed to look out for threats to stability, to climb up into the crow's nest, as it were, take up their binoculars, and survey the scenery below, searching for the icebergs on the distant horizon. And if you're looking for something dangerous on the economic horizon, there's almost nothing more panic-inducing than the burgeoning foreclosure scandal. Now, do not be bored, confused, or alienated by the words foreclosure scandal. It's not only comprehensible, it is fascinating, and it's hugely important. Because many would have you believe that the unprecedented number of foreclosures is the fault of those darn deadbeat homeowners skipping out on their mortgage payments, sinking the American economy with every delinquency. The foreclosure mess didn't become this dangerous because people missed their payments. The problem isn't with the borrowers, it's with the lenders and servicers. And to understand why, indulge a brief analogy. When you buy a car, you have to make sure you get the title transferred into your name. That document says you are the rightful owner. If someday you end up pulled over by the cops or someone steals your car and ends up caught, you need a foolproof, straightforward way of establishing the car is your property. What's happening now in the foreclosure world is that homeowners are starting to demand that the banks that are foreclosing on them produce the housing world version of a car title called the note. They're simply saying, okay, you want to kick me out of my house, you have to show that you legally own my mortgage. And guess what? In a lot of cases, the banks don't seem to have them. That's your cue to put on your shocked and horrified face. Because the banks are saying, as they did about the subprime crisis, that the problem is contained, just a few bad apples and some missing paperwork. But a growing group of lawyers, activists, and journalists who are now digging into this say it's beginning to seem possible that literally hundreds of billions and maybe even trillions of dollars in securities at the heart of this financial crisis were never properly created. And what that means is that the investors who own these awful assets and bought them from the banks might be able to turn around and force the banks to take them back. Now, how do you think the banks would be doing with $1 trillion of liability on their recently restored books? That is one colossal iceberg, and we may be headed right for it.